Growing up, I spent countless hours diving into online worlds. Whether it was RuneScape, Rift, or Aeon, MMOs felt like more than just games. As a kid, they felt like magic. I'd come home from school, rush through my homework, and fire up my old PC, eager to log in and set off on another adventure. These weren't just games. They were entire universes where you could meet strangers, form friendships, and create memories that, even years later, still stick with you. But not every MMO got to live out its full potential. While some became legendary, others vanished, sometime before they even had a real chance to shine. These were games that were hyped, developed, and in some cases even tested, only to be shut down and lost to time. Today we're diving into the MMO games that mysteriously shut down forever. And to start, let's talk about a game that could have brought Bikini Bottom to life, but instead it disappeared beneath the waves. Growing up, SpongeBob was everywhere. Every time I turned on the TV, there he was, flipping Krabby Patties, annoying Squidward, or getting caught up in some ridiculous adventure with Patrick. I must have watched some episodes 100 times, but they never got old. We all had our favorite moments. The time Plankton actually stole the formula, the hash-slinging slasher, or that one episode where SpongeBob tried to make ripped pants a thing. So when I first heard there was going to be a full-on SpongeBob MMO, it sounded like a dream come true. Imagine actually walking around in Bikini Bottom, exploring jellyfish fields, and maybe even getting a job at the Krusty Krab. And in 2010, that's exactly what was planned. SpongeBob Town, also known as SpongeBob SquarePants Online, was an MMO developed by Blue Arc Global in collaboration with Nickelodeon Asia. It was meant to bring Bikini Bottom to life, letting players explore a huge open world, play mini-games, and even race around in customizable cars. Think of it like a mix between Club Penguin and Toontown, but with SpongeBob's wacky underwater charm. Players could create their own characters, own a farm, and help rebuild the city after an explosion, caused by none other than Plankton. Because, of course, it was Plankton. The game was announced in 2010 and entered development in 2011, with plans to release it in Korea, Japan, Latin America, India, Russia, China, and Europe. A closed beta test finally launched in October 2012, and from what we saw, it looked like it was almost finished. There were social hubs, mini-games, working racing mechanics, everything you'd expect from an online SpongeBob game. But then, it just disappeared. Despite being nearly complete, SpongeBob Town was suddenly canceled without explanation. No official statement was ever given by Nickelodeon, Blue Arc, or Gigamedia. The second planned beta test never happened, and by 2013, the entire project had been abandoned. To this day, no playable version of SpongeBob Town has ever been found. As an adult watching Family Guy, you know just how wild and unpredictable the show can be. From Peter's ridiculous humor to Stewie's evil plans, the show had a way of blending absurd humor with unexpected moments. And if you were a die-hard fan like me, you probably remember quoting random lines from the show with your friends. Whether it was Peter's laugh, Stewie's iconic "Victory is mine," or Quagmire's awkward giggity moments. But what you might not know is that there was once a Family Guy MMO, a full-blown online multiplayer game where you could create your own character, explore Quahog, and go on chaotic adventures alongside the Griffin family. It had potential to be something special, but before it could fully take off, it was gone. Family Guy Online was a browser-based MMO developed by Roadhouse Interactive, ACRO NYM Games, and 20th Century Fox. The game launched in public beta on April 17, 2012, giving players the chance to dive into the chaotic world of Quahog like never before. The art style felt like the show had been pulled straight from your TV screen. Players could pick from different roles, each inspired by the show's characters. Stewie was a fast but fragile damage dealer, Peter was the tank with high defense, and Lois acted as a healer. And while Chris and Meg didn't get their own separate roles, they were combined into one character type called Tough Skin. Once in the game, players could explore familiar locations like the Drunken Clam, the Griffin House, and even the Quahog Mall. The game featured quirky mini-games, weird side quests, and plenty of references to memorable Family Guy episodes. Despite all this potential, Family Guy Online didn't last long. The game never even made it out of beta. On December 21, 2012, the developers suddenly announced that the game would be shutting down for good. By January 18, 2013, the servers were offline forever. There was no major controversy, no public outcry, just a brief message on their website and a quiet goodbye. Any players who had spent money in the game during the final 60 days were refunded, and that was it. The developers never gave a clear explanation, but most people believe that low player numbers and poor monetization strategies sealed the game's fate. Who remembers Club Penguin or Toontown Online? If you grew up in the 2000s, chances are you spent countless hours exploring these virtual worlds. For those who never played, Club Penguin was a social MMO, where you could waddle around, play mini-games, and throw snowballs at your friends. Meanwhile, Toontown had you battling evil robot cogs with slapstick gags in a zany cartoon world. Both games were massive hits, not just because they were fun, but because they created these tight-knit online communities that kept players coming back. But what if I told you there was a Christian version of those games? That's where Big Bible Town comes in. Launched in November 2010, Big Bible Town was an MMO created by Third Day Games, designed to be a Christian Club Penguin. The idea was simple: create an interactive online world where kids could learn biblical values while playing games and building their own town. Players could design their character, customize their own church-centered town, and take part in Bible-themed adventures to earn tokens. These tokens could then be spent on costumes, pets, and other upgrades. The game's goal was to combine fun gameplay with religious lessons, something that's tricky to get right. Unfortunately, Big Bible Town didn't exactly deliver. Visually, Big Bible Town wasn't much to look at. The graphics were blocky, the animations were stiff, and overall, it just felt like a budget knockoff of Club Penguin. Sure, the game had some positive messages, but the gameplay itself was painfully slow and uninspired. Most of the adventures were just basic fetch quests, and the social features, arguably the heart of any MMO, felt half-baked. To make matters worse, Big Bible Town used a $6 monthly subscription model. That's right, $6 a month for a game that barely worked as a proper MMO? Parents may have appreciated the faith-based message, but let's be real. If the game itself isn't fun, kids are going to lose interest pretty fast. Here's the strange part. There's almost no proof that Big Bible Town ever really functioned as a true MMO. Most surviving footage shows players wandering around empty towns with no other players in sight. Some believe that the developers never fully implemented multiplayer features, meaning Big Bible Town may have been closer to a glorified single-player game with online elements that never quite worked. Whether it was technical issues or just poor marketing, Big Bible Town never reached the level of success its developers hoped for. At some point, Big Bible Town quietly vanished. There was no big announcement, no dramatic shutdown, just silence. One day the servers went offline, the website disappeared, and the developers at Third Day Games seemed to move on to other projects. But nobody really knows for sure, a forgotten piece of lost media. Today, Big Bible Town remains a forgotten piece of lost media. Aside from a few gameplay videos on YouTube, very little evidence of the game's existence remains. In the end, Big Bible Town is a reminder that even with good intentions, video games still need to be fun. The goal to teach faith-based lessons through gameplay wasn't a bad idea, but without an enjoyable experience to back it up, Big Bible Town simply couldn't survive. But this is just the beginning. We'll be diving into even more forgotten games, lost MMOs, and mysterious stories that time forgot. So if you don't want to miss out, make sure to follow, subscribe, and stay tuned for our next video.